Welcome to today's video on how scarcity trauma can quietly turn financial security into daily stress. We'll explore why saving without a system can drain joy and how to create a plan that funds your future and your present. We'll also share concrete steps, diagrams, examples, and quick quizzes to reinforce learning. Before we dive in, I'll include a short disclaimer section next. This content is educational and not financial, legal, or mental health advice. Everyone's situation is different, so consult licensed professionals for personalized guidance. If you're in distress, reach out to a qualified mental health professional or local crisis hotline. With that said, let's move forward to the agenda. Here's the roadmap for today's video. First, we'll define the scarcity trap and how trauma affects spending. Next, we'll build a system that removes guilt through automation. Then we'll define a clear financial purpose, set a guilt-free spending budget, and practice small, safe indulgences to retrain the brain. We'll reinforce ideas with diagrams and 2 short quizzes. Finally, we'll summarize and outline next steps. Escaping poverty is a major achievement, but the psychological residue can remain. Many people who've survived hardship feel a constant fear that any spending could trigger a financial collapse. As a result, every non-essential purchase becomes stressful. This is the essence of the scarcity trap. Saving hard, but living in fear. To move forward, we need to change the system, not just the mindset. Scarcity trauma is the lasting psychological fear that persists even after someone gains financial stability. It reframes normal purchases as potential threats and often leads to oversaving paired with chronic anxiety. This pattern is not solved by willpower alone. It's addressed by changing the system, creating structures that protect long-term goals while legitimizing present-day enjoyment. Next, we'll transition to a repeatable structure you can implement. To remove guilt, automate security. First, treat savings and investments as mandatory fixed expenses and automate 10 to 20% on payday. Build an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses. Once you've paid your future self automatically, the remaining money is your genuine discretionary budget. Use separate accounts for bills, savings, or investments, and a fun or wants account. Finally, review and tune your transfers and percentages every month. Now let's visualize the automation flow. This flowchart shows the paycheck arriving and immediately triggering automated rules. 10 to 20% routes to savings and investments, funding both emergency reserves and long-term goals. Essentials and bills get a fixed percentage or dollar amount. Next, a 5 to 10% allocation diverts to the fun or wants account. Variable expenses draw from what's left. Guilt-free purchases occur from the designated wants account. Finally, everything converges at a monthly review, where you adjust percentages based on progress and comfort. With the flow in mind, let's define your purpose so the numbers mean something. Begin by naming your top financial targets, such as retirement, a home down payment, early independence, or education. Assign numbers and timelines to each goal so progress can be measured. After the essentials are funded, additional money can be redirected toward intentional enjoyment or higher-risk growth investments, depending on your preferences. When goals are explicit and measurable, guilt diminishes because the concept of enough is clearly defined. Next, we'll introduce the guilt-free spending budget. Create a wants or fun account and allocate 5 to 10% of your net income to it each payday. Do not transfer this money back to savings or investments. Its purpose is to legitimize enjoyment as a planned expense, not a moral failure. By insulating this allocation from your savings, you prevent second-guessing and remove the tug-of-war between security and pleasure. Now, let's discuss how to ease into spending if it still feels scary. If spending triggers anxiety, begin with small, scheduled indulgences such as a weekly pastry, a movie, or an inexpensive upgrade like better socks. Allow your nervous system to acclimate before attempting larger purchases. Keep a pre-approved list of treats to reduce decision fatigue and overthinking. Each month, reflect on what brought real joy, confirm that your savings targets remain on track, and adjust the size or frequency of indulgences accordingly. Next, let's look at a quick reference budget model. This table presents a baseline budget. Security contributions of 10 to 20% or more are automated. The emergency fund is prioritized until it reaches 3 to 6 months of expenses. Needs typically consume 50 to 60%, depending on location and lifestyle. The wants or fun account receives 5 to 10%. Debt paydown varies, with focus on high-interest balances. Finally, Consider allocating 1 to 5% to learning and growth. Adjust these ranges to your realities and goals. 2. To solidify the concepts, let's contrast hoarding with strategic allocation. On the left is emotion-based hoarding, where saving is driven by fear. Joy feels unsafe, goals are vague, second-guessing is constant, and burnout becomes likely. On the right is rule-based strategic allocation. Joy is legitimized and protected within the budget. Goals are explicit with milestones. Monthly reviews enable adjustments, and the system is sustainable. This comparison shows why a structure beats relying on feelings alone. Now, let's check your understanding with a quick quiz. Quiz time. The question is, what is the primary purpose of automating 10 to 20% savings on payday? Option A, to eliminate the need for a budget entirely. Option B, to fund future goals first so remaining money is truly discretionary. Option C, to increase monthly bills. Option D, to punish overspending. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is B. Automating savings and investments first ensures your future goals are covered, so the remaining money becomes truly discretionary. This removes the ongoing conflict between fear and enjoyment. Next, let's try one more quick question. Second quiz. The question is, how much of your net income should typically go to a guilt-free wants or fun account? Option A, 0%. Option B, 1 to 2%. Option C, 5 to 10%. Option D, 25%. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is C, 5 to 10%. This allocation is designed to institutionalize enjoyment as part of your financial plan, reducing guilt while protecting your long-term objectives. Now, let's add one more planning diagram you can follow week by week. This timeline organizes an 8-week reset. In setup, weeks 1 and 2 define your purpose and targets, then implement automation and a dedicated wants account. In practice, weeks 3 and 4 schedule small, pre-approved indulgences and brief reflections to retrain your responses. In optimize, weeks 5 and 6 review progress and adjust percentages or simplify rules. In expand, weeks 7 and 8 either increase investments if comfortable or plan a larger, budgeted treat to consolidate your gains. This phased approach reduces overwhelm while building evidence that the system works. This blueprint captures the automatic decision-making you set once and then refine monthly. The paycheck triggers rules that allocate funds to savings and investments, essentials, and the wants account. Remaining funds go to variable expenses. A monthly review consolidates results and loops back to the rules so you can increase or decrease allocations as your situation changes. This creates a sustainable cycle that balances security and joy. Key takeaways. Automate 10 to 20% to security on payday. Define your financial purpose with numbers and timelines. Fund a 5 to 10% wants account to legitimize joy. Start with small indulgences to retrain your responses. Review monthly and adjust. Above all, balance means giving every dollar a purpose rather than hoarding without a plan. In summary, clearly name your goals and assign numbers today. Set up auto transfers by your next paycheck. Open a dedicated wants account. Schedule one small indulgence this week to begin retraining your responses. Add a 30-day review to your calendar. These steps will help you enjoy your present while securing your future. Thank you for watching. If this video helped you, please like, share, and subscribe. I'd love to hear your first guilt-free treat in the comments. Your story might give someone else the courage to start.